Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Trahern Crews show. Got a very exclusive interview tonight. We got I'm gonna just call him Innocent. Uh, he's in a prison right now, and we're gonna talk about his story and how he got there and why he needs to be let out. Say what's up to the people, Innocent.
Hey, what's going on?
Man, I'm glad you're on the line. Tell us what led up to you being in the situation where you're at right now.
Glad you should ask. It all started on March 29th. This goes back to 2007. Being wrongfully accused. I had two co-defendants that was on PCP at this time, but I didn't know it. I just left a studio at this time working at a business named is Taco Bell as a shift manager. And I'm an honor roll student at that time, and I'm about to graduate high school. So I go back to his apartments. At this time, I'm affiliated with a particular gang. So, but I'm not just in that lifestyle at that time because I'm trying to change my mindset. And yeah, as you see, as an honor roll student and working a full-time job as a shift manager, it takes a lot of responsibility. So I speak see two of my friends, and I was like, hey, okay. And I see they on PCP, but in my community, that's typical. That's just like somebody smoking weed. I was like, okay, let's just go to the store. I said, okay, let's get something to drink, man, and just call it a day. So as we go to this store, it's another guy. He's from a rival gang, but it wasn't just okay. It's not what the DA tried to portray the case to be. It's just speaking, having a natural conversation. As the time goes on, I step back in, because it's getting very uncomfortable. They start speaking about certain things of as this gang talk and as guns being shown. But just again, that's typical, especially in the black community when it comes to gang involvement. So I was like, okay, man, let's remember why we at this store to get something to eat or something to drink. So as I'm stepping out to go inside the store, my two co-defendants at this time is still on PCP, and I'm like, oh, and I see the car driving off, so I'm like, I know these brothers ain't just gonna leave me at the store. So I guess they in their mind, as they're driving off, they bust a U-turn. It was a young man driving on a scooter. So as he's ramming his scooter, he bumps into the car. So I'm looking at all this that is taking place. So they speak with him, and again, the shots is being fired. So as shots being fired, hey, I'm black. We don't sit around and try to figure out who been shot. I'm thinking somebody may be shooting me. I take off running. As I'm taking off running, my co-defendants pull up. I just say, jump in the car. What you doing? I said, hey man, you heard them shoot? He said, we just had an altercation. So we drive back to the community where I'm from, and I'm saying, hey man, I'm gone. 3 days later, I remember this because my mom is like, never forget this. She just goes to sign to give me something to eat. I say, hey, mom, I feel like somebody's around this house. Because the same day that the incident happened, I went to work. In my mind, hey, I'm not involved. I'm not going to call the police and say I witnessed something because I know how that works. You say you witnessed something in the black community. Hey, is you finna snitch? Or you finna tell what you seen? So I'm like, man, I'm just going to go to work. Hey, let the law enforcement just do what they decide to do. So 3 days later, as in a home with my mom, I heard someone knock on the door, and they bust through the door. Guns pointed at my chest and say, hey, you've been charged with first-degree murder. So then I'm like, well, first-degree murder, they sheriff department, so they only have so much information they can tell you. As when we go to preliminary hearings, so I really want to understand everything about my case because I had an attorney. All he was telling me, hey, we know you're innocent. We're going to bring you home. And he wanted $30,000, okay, to take on my case. So, okay, I'm letting him know, hey, I'm an honor roll student. I'm finna graduate high school. Hey, whatever you finna do, get it done. Hey, this is big with my family about graduating high school. He said, you got way more things important to think of about graduating high school, but he going to try his best. So preliminary hearing, I'm thinking I'm going to go home. The victim brother get on the stand. He said, hey, Yes, I know of Josh. I know him. But this man that you're accusing did not kill my brother. He names my co-defendant as the person who kills his brother. So I'm
Mm.
looking at my lawyer like, oh, I know I'm about to go home now. I'm like, okay, you just heard the guy tell the court that that I did not kill his brother. The judge said, well, because he seen me at the scene of the crime, we're going to bound him over for first degree murder. I said,
Right.
hold on. I said, hold on. I'm trying because at this time I'm dumb to law. Just turned 18. I said, hold on. You telling me I'm going to get bound over for murder, even though he just told the courts he names my co-defendant as the person who shot his brother because he's at the scene of the crime. He witnessed everything. They said, well, it don't matter because you were at the scene of the crime. You have to go too. So the DAs come back with an offer because they couldn't believe that the victim's brother told them that. It was like, okay, if you take 15 years and testify against him, we'll drop, we'll do with accessory and in other words, live your life. And this is me. I'm like, why would I take this deal if I know I didn't do it? And then my community, okay, that means you finna snitch on something. Tells like, then you have to think about your family and that you put in jeopardy because everybody know, okay, you are the individual who's seen something that you want to. And so it was a bad situation. So my co-defendants, they're looking at, you are the youngest guy on the case. You 18, 126, 133. Why don't you just take the case? If you take the case, man, we got maybe get 2 strikes or 3 strikes. They're trying to wipe us out. I'm like, I'm not taking this case. I'm not dealing with the DA. I know I'm innocent, so I'm going to take this to trial with my lawyer. He's confirming like that. You will go home. So when we go to trial, they don't have a gun. They don't have fingerprints. Anything of a particular murder, they don't have. So the next thing they do, they found some rap lyrics inside my house. They use these rap lyrics to show my intent and my motive. I've been
Mm.
writing music since I was a kid. I'm a PK kid. My dad was a pastor, an elder, mom's a missionary. So I wrote all type of genres of music. So I'm like, okay, they're gonna use music. I said, okay, I guess, but I didn't understand the strategic way they used it. So they picked out certain music and made it stick to the crime.
Music that you wrote.
Music not only that I wrote, but music that just could have been from different artists inside the tub. So it was just lyrics of songs inside the tub. So they picked it out and said, okay, we're gonna make this lyric be the crime. So the jury believed the lyrics to be truth. So these lyrics, before they was presented to the jury, they had what is called an in-camera hearing, and the judge asked the district attorney. They said, "Do you know who wrote these lyrics?" They said, "No, DA, no, Judge. We found him in his home." But when it came to jury, they said he wrote it. This is his lyrics. He believes these lyrics is his own lifestyle. So you telling me I've been writing music and I had friends put their music in my tubs. I don't even know per se if it's my lyrics because when we was kids, we all wrote lyrics. We shared music back and forth.
Right.
So it dumbfound me that. So they made me to.
That's
They said
crazy. Damn.
they
So just
compared.
off something that you're listening to, they'll be like, you did something.
Correct. And so in this crazy part, those lyrics did not identify the victim, had nothing to do with him at all. I wrote lyrics since I was in middle school, high school, all type of years, or just like download music from Tupac, Biggie, all type of music I have had. So I was like, man, they just can take some lyrics and make it be the case. So my co-defendant, because he wanted a deal so bad, they was like, oh, just give us something. Previously, I got shot by a self-defense case. The district attorney allowed my co-defendant to come up with a story like the victim and I must have had been at war with each other. They just made up something. They even told the jury that we worked with each other. We didn't get along. I have never worked with this guy in my life. I have never even met this guy, but it didn't matter. In the courtroom, it's your word versus the district attorney. And I looked at my lawyer. I'm like, man, I never met this dude. I never worked with this dude. It didn't matter. Whatever the district attorney said, it's law. It
Wow.
didn't matter. It didn't matter if what I told him about the rap because it didn't matter. It's law. If you and it's so crazy how my district or even my lawyer. I love the legal system. My mom always taught me, "Hey, stand for what is right." So I'm standing for right. I'm like, I'm not taking a case that's not mine.
Right.
And in this point, I knew I was screwed because my lawyer, he had a hearing aid issue and I didn't really understand at the time. So his hearing aid was going in and out in court. So he couldn't even hear exactly my case. So that would, if you think about it, like, how you going to have a lawyer in a trial not arguing your case? My
Right.
lawyer, you know, my lawyer was also disbarred from Colorado Supreme Court. Later, he got his license back in Oklahoma because it was suspended for doing the same things that he did on my case, not following up with his
But
client.
this is before your case, right?
Yes, this is before my case.
Mm.
See, my lawyer, all he did is when we, as you see some people, people watch TV and shows and like SVU, and they see someone preparing their client for trial. My lawyer didn't prepare me for nothing. All he told me is I'm going home.
Wow.
So as a young kid, all you hear, you going home, you wait. And he used to play with my mind, with my family. He used to say, "Hey, I didn't get that money, right?" I'm like, "What you mean?" He said, "I could do a better job if I had that money." So I called my mom stressed now. I'm like, "Hey, mom, y'all didn't pay the lawyer." She said, "We just paid him. Will he want more money again?" So I started to understand. I said, this is all a money game system. So it's so many things now. I look back, even to get on stand. He told me not to get on stand. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I didn't understand what get on stand mean. He was like, nah, just no. You this. I didn't know that I was set up for failure before I started. It got so point as on my case years later. I'm looking at it was so political. But at that time, there was a gang war going on in my community. So before the jury selection, they did a press conference, and my case was used with senators about stopping gang violence.
Wow.
So it was my
You didn't even do, right?
yeah. So my thing became the honor roll student who's charged with murder and with robberies. That became like the thing within the community.
Wow. So since then, what's been happening? Have you've ran into some people that have been helping you?
Yes, I've read in Miss Teresa Delgado from Hutchinson, Kansas, Pastor Manny Diotis of Teaching and Saving Kids out of Oklahoma City, and a lot of people who have tried to help. I've reached out to different organizations to be, without just making them sound bad. A lot of them seem like they chase clout than helping the person who really need help.
No doubt. So, was you working with the Innocence Project?
Innocence Project, we have put in an application, but as you know, it takes 2 to 4 years before they're able to review it because they have a backlog.
So, if anybody wants to help them, should I have them contact me? Then I'll contact you, or how should we do that?
Oh yeah, that'd be fine. They can contact you.
Okay, so yeah, there's a right now there's a man's. You just heard his story. If you feel like you can help, and there's some people up here in Minnesota that I think can help you, so we're gonna have them reach out to you too, and try to get you connected, man. Because Mayan Burrell, some people just got him out of jail in a very, very, very similar situation. So I'm gonna reach out to them, have them review what you're talking about, and then see if we can connect. See if we can get you some help and get you up out of there, man.
Man, I appreciate that.
What's going on with the COVID and stuff up in there?
Oh yes. See, the thing about it, like when I was explaining to my mother, people are dying from COVID, but they're not really reporting it. Because as you know, this still is the business at the end of the day. You can't just tell everybody that so many people are dying. So you just don't stop telling people, the public. It's one of those things. But yes, people have died from COVID, sick. Then you got to think about a lot of the officers are not wearing the correct information, like PPE, whatever they call it, because they get lax. So the only reason why people get COVID and incarcerated in the county jail is due to the people that bring it in, because we locked up.
Right.
Yeah. So yes. Yeah. It's people dying.
People are we're in the prison right now dying from COVID.
Yes, but not now at this prison where I'm at. But yes, people are dying in this state from COVID right now.
Okay, no doubt. So yeah, Matt, thank you for taking some time out your day to talk to us. We're gonna make sure we connect you with the right people that I know, so we can try to get you up out of there.
I appreciate that, man.
All right, we'll be in touch soon. Thank you for coming on the show.
Likewise.
All right, peace. And that was Mr. Innocent. Um, he was calling in. I'm gonna say he's from an undisclosed location. We're trying to get him the help that he needs. So I'll be reaching out to some people that I know, and maybe after reviewing the case, that we can get him out of there. I'd like to thank y'all all. Remember, we got the MLK March coming up on January 18th. We also have the St. Paul Recovery Act Book Club meeting tomorrow with we'll have Chris Lehman, who wrote Slavery's Reach. He's going to be our special guest, so make sure you tune in for that. You can go to the Eastside Freedom Library Facebook page for more information and to RSVP for that event. We got the MLK March, and then on the 20th, we'll be in Washington, D.C., demanding full and complete reparations for the American descendants of slavery on day one of Joe Biden's administration. So I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in. And we'll be back to talk to you later this week. Peace.